I thought I had it all figured out. A loving wife, two beautiful kids, and a home filled with laughter. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. I worked hard to provide for my family, never complained about the long hours, and always made time for the things that mattered. Family dinners at 7 hour, bedtime stories by 8 hour, and Sunday movie nights. These small routines were the glue that held us together. But lately, something had changed. My wife, the woman I had loved for over a decade, started pulling away. At first it was subtle, a missed kiss here, a quiet dinner there. I brushed it off as stress or exhaustion. She'll snap out of it, I told myself. But days turned into weeks, and her silence grew louder than any argument we'd ever had. No more goodnight kisses. No more, "How was your day?" Just cold stares and endless scrolling on her phone. I noticed everything. The way her face lit up at her screen, the constant texts she couldn't seem to ignore, the late-night errands or phone calls she took outside. I tried to convince myself it was nothing, but deep down, I knew better. My home didn't feel like home anymore. At first, I thought I was overthinking. People get busy, right? Stress happens. But then the little things started adding up. She used to light up when I came home, greeting me with a smile that made me feel like the most important person in the world. Now I'd walk in, and she wouldn't even look up. Dinner was the worst. She'd sit at the table with her phone right next to her plate, barely engaging with me or the kids. Every time she laughed at something on her screen, I'd ask, "What's so funny?" She'd always give the same dismissive answer. "Just a friend." I played it cool, not wanting to seem insecure, but her growing detachment felt like a knife to the heart. I still held on. I told myself it was just a phase, that we'd get through it. But then came the day she stopped speaking to me altogether. That night, I sat on the edge of the bed, watching her sleep. She looked so peaceful, so unbothered, as if everything was fine. Meanwhile, I felt like a ghost in my own house. Something inside me shifted. I wasn't angry anymore. I was calm. Too calm. I glanced at the kids' room where they were tucked in, fast asleep. And I knew I couldn't let them grow up thinking this was normal. I couldn't let them believe that silence was love or that being ignored was okay. I moved quietly, pulling out the suitcase I'd hidden in the garage months ago, just in case. I packed essentials for the kids, clothes, shoes, their favorite toys. I packed what I needed too. No extras, no clutter. This was a clean break. By 3 a.m., everything was ready. I didn't leave a note. Notes are for people who deserve explanations. I just took one last look at her, still asleep, and walked out, locking the door behind me. That click felt final. It felt like freedom. The kids woke up as I buckled them into the car. My youngest rubbed her eyes. "Where are we going, Daddy?" she asked. I kissed her forehead and smiled. "Somewhere better, baby." We drove with no GPS, no destination, just forward. I imagined her waking up that morning, stretching like she had all the time in the world. At first, she probably didn't notice anything was wrong. But as the minutes passed, and the usual sounds of the house, cartoons, laughter, breakfast cooking, were missing, panic must have set in. She likely called out, "Babe," and got no response. Checked the kids' rooms and found them empty. Checked her phone only to see that her texts and calls went unanswered. I knew exactly what she'd do next. She'd call her mom, then her friends, asking if they'd seen us. And when she finally called the police, she'd hear the words she wasn't ready for. "Ma'am, he's their father. Unless there's a court order, a week later, kidnapping." She showed up at my sister's house. Her calls came in waves. Her eyes were 10, swollen. 20, her 30 missed calls. I didn't answer a single one, she demanded, her voice trembling. "Safe," I replied. "Something you wouldn't understand." Tears filled her eyes. "I just want to fix this. I love you. I love our family." She reached for my hand, but I stepped back. "Love?" I scoffed. You ignored me for weeks. You acted like I didn't exist. There's no love in that. She broke down, sobbing into her hands. I made mistakes, she admitted. I was stressed. I wasn't thinking. I cut her off. Don't lie to me, not now. I know about the texts, the calls, the late nights. I know everything. Her knees buckled as she sank to the porch, the weight of her actions finally hitting her. I looked down at her, no anger left, just resolve. I'm not here to argue, I said. I just wanted you to feel what it's like to be invisible. Moving. Forward weeks have passed. She's trying now. Therapy sessions, constant messages promising she's changed. But I'm not in a rush. The kids ask about her sometimes. When's Mommy coming back? They'll say. I keep my answers honest but gentle. She's working on herself, baby. Sometimes people have to fix themselves before they can be good. To others. I've learned a lot through all of this. Peace without respect isn't peace. It's surrender. And I'm done surrendering. If she truly wants this family back, she'll have to earn it. Not with words or tears, but with actions. And if she doesn't, that's fine too. Because for the first time in a long time, I'm good either way.